Hello everyone. In today's session, we will cover chapter number 6 of Companies Act 2013, which comprises of section 77 to 87 of Companies Act 2013. Out of this section number 81 that deals with the register of charges to be kept by the registrar, and section number 85 that deals with company register of charges. They are excluded from the syllabus. We start with the topic that is meaning and types of charges. The term meaning of charge is covered by section 2 clause 16, which defines the term charge so as to mean an interest or lien that is created either on the property of the company or assets of the company or any undertaking of the company or both as the security and includes a mortgage. Charges are of two types. One is fixed charge, second one is the floating charge. A fixed charge is created on the assets that are of permanent nature like land, building, premises, furniture, fixture, etc. When a charge is created, the asset needs to be identified, and a fixed charge is created in relation to immovable property either by way of registered mortgage or by deposit of title deeds. The charge holder has a right to prohibit, to restrict the person not to sell the assets. That means the company cannot sell the asset without the permission of the charge holder. A fixed charge is a charge on the specific assets of the borrowing company, and these assets are of permanent nature like land, building, office premise, machinery installed, and so on. These assets needs to be identified at the time when the charge is created, and the charge is created either by way of mortgage or by deposit of title deed in a relation to immovable properties. When a charge is created on such assets, the charge remains fixed and the borrowing company is not permitted, they are prohibited that they cannot sell the assets without the permission of the charge holder. However, they are entitled to use the assets, though the company may use them. Assets under fixed charge can be sold only with the permission or consent of the charge holder, and a fixed charge is vacated when the money that is borrowed against the asset which is subject to charge is repaid in full. Second type of charge, it is of fluctuating nature. Fluctuating nature charge is that charge which is created on the fluctuating assets like raw material, debtor, etc. A fluctuating charge is created on the assets or a class of assets which are of fluctuating nature or changing, like raw material, stock in trade, debtor, etc. The assets under the floating charge, they keep on changing, keep on fluctuating because the borrowing company is entitled to use them for the purpose of trading or for the purpose of producing the finished goods. However, a floating charge converted into fixed charge, that is known as the crystallization of floating charge, in four circumstances. First one, when there is a violation of the terms and conditions of floating charge. Second one, when the company goes into the liquidation. Third one, when the company ceases to carry on its business. Or fourth one, when the company commits a default in paying the principal and or interest and the holder of charge brings an action to enforce the security. These are the four situations in which a floating charge crystallizes, that means converted into the fixed assets. That is about the topic meaning and types of charges. Now the next one, section 77, duty to register the charges. Duty for the registration of charge that is created on the property, asset or undertaking of the company is of the company itself. It is the duty of the company that creates a charge, whether in India or outside India, on its property, asset or undertaking of the company, whether tangible or otherwise, whether the property asset is situated in India or outside India, to register the particulars of the charge with the registrar within 30 days of the creation of the charge in the prescribed manner. However, registrar may, on an application of the company, allow the registration to be made within a period of 60 days from the creation of charge on payment of prescribed additional fees. However, if the charge is not registered within 60 days of the creation of the charge, then also there is a provision that registrar may, on the application of the company, allow the company to register the charge in next 60 days, further 60 days, but on payment of ad valorem fees. If the charge is not registered within the extended period as above, the company shall make an application and registrar is empowered to allow such registration within a further period of 60 days on payment of prescribed ad valorem fees. That means first 30 days normal fees, next 30 days additional fees, next 60 days ad valorem fees. However, the application for delay, it shall be made and supported by a declaration from the company and need to be signed by the secretary or director that such belated filing of the charge will not adversely affect the right of any other intervening creditors of the company. Now, what is the manner in which the charge is to be registered? It is covered under rule number 3 of the company's registration of charges rules 2014. As per rule 3, the particulars of the charge, together with the copy of the instrument, if any, through which the charge is created or modified, in form number CHG1 if the charge is for the purpose of securing any debt other than the debenture, or in form number CHG9 if it is for the debentures, duly signed by the company and the charge holder, shall be filed with the registrar within a period of 30 days of the date of creation or date of modification of the charge along with the fees. Who will verify the instrument through which the charge is created? It depends whether the instrument or deed solely related to the property that is situated outside India or situated in India, either wholly or partly. So this is an important one. How the instrument of charge through which the charge is created is to be verified. A copy of every instrument that evidence any creation or modification of charge and required to be filed with the registrar shall be verified as follows. Where the instrument or deed relates solely to the property situated outside India, the copy of the instrument shall be verified by a certificate issued either under the seal of the company, if there is, or under the hand of any director or company secretary of the company or any authorized officer of the charge holder, or under the hand of some person other than the company who is interested in this mortgage or charge. However, if the instrument or deed relate whether wholly or partly to the property situated in India, then the copy shall be verified by a certificate issued under the hand of the director or company secretary of the company or any other authorized officer of the charge holder. So this is the manner in which the instrument of charge along with the particular of charge is to be filed with the registrar for the purpose of the registration of charges. And when these forms along with the instrument filed with the ROC, then a certificate of registration of such charge shall be issued by the registrar in such form and manner as may be prescribed, and the certificate of registration shall be issued to the company and to the person in whose favor the charge is created. In which form the certificate of registration of charge is issued? Rule 6 says that registrar shall issue the certificate of registration in form number CHG2. and the certificate so issued by the registrar shall be a conclusive evidence that the requirements of chapter 6 in relation to the registration of the charge has been duly complied with. Section 77 subsection 3, it deals with the consequences of the non-registration of a charge. If a charge is not registered, then this charge shall not be considered by the liquidator or any other creditor. If at a later stage company goes into the liquidation, the liquidator will not consider this charge or any other creditor will not consider this charge. That means charge becomes void. However, debt remains valid. Debt remains valid. No charge created by the company shall be taken into account either by the liquidator appointed under the provisions of Companies Act 2013 or under the provisions of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 as the case may be, or any other creditor. That means liquidator or any other creditor, they will not consider a charge if it is not registered under section 77 and a certificate of registration is not given. That means a charge will be considered by the liquidator or by any other creditor if it is duly registered with the registrar and a certificate of registration has been issued by the registrar. However, this point to be noted that nothing in section 77 subsection 3 shall prejudice any contract or obligation for the repayment of any money secured by a charge. So it implies that charge remains valid. Charge remains valid though it becomes void. Sorry, debt remains valid. Charge is not valid. Debt remains valid, but the charge becomes void. Charge void. This is all about section 77. Now the next one is section 78. If the company does not fulfill its obligation, that means company does not file the particulars of charges with the registrar, in that case, charge holder, the person in whose favor the charge is created, may apply to the registrar for the registration of charges. Where a company fails to register the charge within a period of 30 days, the person in whose favor the charge is created may apply to the registrar for registration of charge along with the instrument through which the charge is created within such time, form and manner as may be prescribed. On receipt of such application, the registrar shall within a period of 14 days after giving the notice to the company allow such registration on payment of such fees as may be prescribed. However, if the company itself get the charge registered or show cause why such charge shall not be registered, then the registrar will not allow such registration. However, if the company does not take any step for the registration of charge or company does not show any sufficient cause why such charge shall not be registered, then registrar shall allow such registration on payment of such fees as may be prescribed. And if the charge is registered on an application made by the charge holder is entitled to recover the fee that is paid to the registrar for the purpose of registration from the company. If the registration is affected on application of the person in whose favor the charge is created, the person shall be entitled to recover from the company any fee or additional fees paid by him to the registrar for the purpose of registration of charges. Now, the next one is section 79. Section 79 says that the provisions related to section 77, they also apply in certain cases. What are these provisions? First one, a company acquiring any property subject to a charge but with the permission of the charge holder, then the company which acquires such property is required to get the charge registered in favor of the charge holder. Second one, when there occur any modification in the terms and conditions or extent or operation of any charge already registered under this section. So in these two cases, the provisions that are covered under section 77 needs to be complied with. First one situation is company acquiring any property which is subject to a charge. In a relation to this, point number 1 will be applicable, that is, in case a property where charge is already registered and it is sold with the permission of the charge holder, it shall be the duty of the company which acquires such property to get the charge registered in accordance with section 77. Second point is modification. Any modification in the term, condition, extent or operation. Now, there are certain examples of modifications. First one, when the charge is modifying by varying any terms and conditions of existing charge through an agreement. Modification in pursuance of an agreement for enhancing or decreasing the limits. Modification by ceding a pari passu charge. Change in the rate of interest. Change in the repayment schedule of loan. Partial release of the charge on a particular asset or the property. So these are the situations in which the provisions of section 77 will be applicable, and where the particulars of modification of charge is registered, the registrar shall issue the certificate of registration in form number CHG3, and the certificate so issued by the registrar shall be the conclusive evidence that the requirements of chapter 6 of the Companies Act 2013 and the related rules framed thereunder as to the registration of modification of charge have been complied with. This is all about section 79. Section 80. Section 80 says that the date of notice of charge. If any person acquire a property which is under a charge, then it shall be deemed that such person have the knowledge of this charge from the date of registration of charge. Section 80, where any charge on any property or asset or undertaking of the company is registered under section 77. Any person acquiring such property, asset, undertaking or part thereof shall be deemed to have notice of the charge from which date? From the date of registration of charge. From the date of such registration. This is about section 80. Section 81 is not in the syllabus. Now move to section number 82. Section 82 relates with the satisfaction of charge or release of any charge. It says that it is the duty of the company to give intimation to the registrar in the prescribed form of the payment or satisfaction of charge that is earlier registered within 30 days from the date of such payment or satisfaction, and registrar may on the application by whom? Either by the company or by the charge holder allow such intimation of payment to be made within a period of 300 days of such payment or satisfaction, subject to payment of the prescribed additional fees. Now, what the registrar will do? The registrar shall on receipt of the intimation cause a notice to be sent to the charge holder, calling upon him to show cause within such time not exceeding 14 days why the payment that is informed to registrar shall not be registered. As to why payment or satisfaction should not be recorded as intimated to the registrar. If charge holder does not reply, that means if no cause is shown by such charge holder, the registrar shall order that a memorandum of satisfaction shall be entered in the register of charges kept by him under section 81 and inform the company that he has done so. However, if any cause is being shown, then registrar shall record a note to that effect in the register of charges and again inform to the company. However, no notice need to be sent to the charge holder if the intimation given to the registrar is in the specified form and itself signed by the charge holder. If the intimation of satisfaction itself is signed by the charge holder, then no need to send the notice by the registrar to the charge holder. Rule 8 says, in case the registrar enters a memorandum of satisfaction of charge in full, he shall issue a certificate of registration in form number CHG5, and for a period of 8 years from the date of satisfaction of charge, the instrument through which the charge was created, the instrument through which the charge was modified need to be preserved. This is covered in rule number 10 about the preservation of the record. The instrument through which the charge is created, the instrument through which the charge is modified shall be preserved for a period of 8 years. From which date? This is a very important one. From the date of satisfaction of the charge by the company. This is all about section number 82. Move to section number 83. In case the company does not intimate to the registrar about the payment or satisfaction of charge, then the registrar may, on evidence being shown to his satisfaction that the debt for which the charge was given has been paid or satisfied either in whole or in part, or part of the property or undertaking that was under charge has been released from the charge, or company these assets cease to form part of company's property or undertaking. So these are the situations of which the evidence needs to be produced to the registrar, that debt for which the charge was given has been paid either in full or in part, or the property, assets or undertaking on which the charge was there was released from the charge, or company or these assets cease to remain the part of the properties or undertaking of the company. In that case, registrar may, it is a optional one, registrar may, if he is satisfied he can, if he is not satisfied he may ignore, enter in the register of charges a memorandum of satisfaction either in whole or in part, or of the fact that part of the property or undertaking has been released from the charge or ceased to form part of company property or undertaking, as the case may be, despite the fact that no intimation has been received from the company. And in this case, registrar shall inform the affected parties within 30 days of making the entry in the register of charges. And in case the registrar enter a memorandum of satisfaction of charge in full, he shall issue a certificate of registration of charge in form number CHG5 to the company and to the person in whose favor the charge was earlier registered. This is about the provisions of section number 83. Section 84, that is intimation of appointment of receiver or manager. If any person obtain an order for the appointment of receiver or a person to manage the property which is subject to charge, or any person appoint such a receiver or person under any such power that is contained in an instrument, then he shall within a period of 30 days from the date of passing of the order or such appointment give notice of such appointment to the company as well as to the registrar along with a copy of the order or appointment. The registrar shall, on payment of the prescribed fees, register the particulars of the receiver, person or instrument in the register of charges. And any person appointed above, on ceasing to hold such appointment, give to the company and the registrar a notice to that effect, and the registrar shall register such notice. Not an important one. If you want to skip, you may skip. Punishment for contravention, section 86. If any company contravenes the provision relating to the registration of charges, then company shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 5 lakh, and every officer in default, every officer of the company who is in default shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 50,000. If any person willfully furnishes any false or incorrect information or knowingly suppresses any material information required to be registered in accordance with the provisions of section 77, then that person is liable for action under the provisions of section 447 related with the fraud. This is about section 86, punishment for contravention. Section 85 was not in our syllabus, about the company register of charges. Last section about rectification of register of charges, and for that purpose central government may pass an order. As per section 87, if central government is satisfied that any omission to give intimation to the registrar as to the payment or satisfaction of the charge within the time required under this chapter, that is within 300 days, covered under section 82. First 300 days, after 300 days, within 300 days from the date of satisfaction on payment of additional fees. But if no intimation is given to the registrar within 300 days from the date of satisfaction, date of payment, in that case, if the omission was accidental or due to inadvertence or other sufficient cause which shall not prejudice the position of creditor or stakeholder of the company, the central government may, on the application of the company or other interested party, and on such terms and conditions as deemed fit by the central government, direct that time for giving intimation of payment of satisfaction shall be extended. Second one is, there is some omission or misstatement in particulars of charges. Whenever a charge is created, also at the time of registration, some particulars of charge needs to be filed with the registrar. If in these particulars any omission was there or any misstatement was there, so if at the time of registration of charge or a registration of modification of charge, any particular is either omitted or misstated, or any particular in a relation to memorandum of satisfaction or other entry made in pursuance of section 82 or 83, there is a omission or misstatement of any particular. First situation, it was omission of giving intimation to the registrar. Second one is omission or misstatement of particulars related with the registration of charge, related with the modification, related with the registration of modification of charge, and third one is particulars in a relation to any entry that is to be made in the memorandum of satisfaction in pursuance of section 82 and 83. If the CG is of the opinion that it was accidental or inadvertence or sufficient reasons were there, in that case, central government may allow that omission or misstatement shall be rectified. Rule number 12 of Companies Registration of Charges Rules 2014. It says that central government may, on an application in form number CHG 8, direct rectification of omission or misstatement of any particular in any filing previously recorded with the registrar with respect to any charge or modification thereof, or with respect to memorandum of satisfaction or other entry made in pursuance of section 82 or 83. Or it may direct extension of time for satisfaction of charge if such filing was not made within a period of 300 days from the date of such payment or satisfaction. So these are the provisions of chapter number 6 of Companies Act 2013, which covers section 77 to 87. Now, in relation to this chapter, the examination weightage in May 18, a question for 6 marks, in November 18, a question of 6 marks, in May 19, 2 marks, November 19, 5 marks, November 20, 4 marks, January 21, 3 marks. So this chapter covers approximate 4 to 5 marks in the exam. However, in July 21, December 21, no question from this chapter was asked in the exams. So this is about chapter number 6, a rapid revision. Detail we have already covered in our regular lectures along with the detailed discussions of descriptive questions. So this is all for today. We will meet in next session with new chapter. Thank you very much and goodbye.